First contact and deception. The signal arrived on a Tuesday. Dr. Elena Reyes had been analyzing deep space radio transmissions for 15 years at the Global Space Communications Array in Chile, and not once had she detected anything that couldn't be explained by natural phenomena. Until now. "Director Okafor," she said, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "I need you to come to Lab 3 immediately." Dr. Imani Okafor arrived within minutes, her usual composed demeanor intact, despite being pulled from an international conference call. "This better be important, Elena." "It is." Elena pointed to her monitor where a pattern of pulses scrolled across the screen. "This signal originates from the Epsilon Eridani system, 10.5 light-years away. It contains mathematical sequences, prime numbers, the value of pi, and what appears to be linguistic patterns. It's artificial, Director, and it's aimed directly at Earth." Director Okafor stared at the screen, the significance of the moment washing over her. "First contact," she whispered. Within hours, the quiet research facility transformed into a hub of frantic activity. Scientists from every discipline were flown in, alongside military personnel and government officials from nations across the globe. The United Earth Council, a previously ceremonial body formed after the climate wars of the 2040s, suddenly found itself thrust into a position of genuine global authority. 3 weeks later, Elena stood before the council, explaining what they had learned. "The species calls themselves the Meridians," she said, gesturing to the holographic representation of the signal analysis. "They claim to be peaceful explorers who have been observing Earth for decades. They're requesting a diplomatic meeting at the edge of our solar system in 4 months." General Marcus Chen, head of the United Earth Defense Force, leaned forward. "And we believe them?" Elena chose her words carefully. "They've shared technological schematics as a goodwill gesture. Our engineers confirm the physics are sound. The technology is significantly more advanced than our own. Or they want us to think they are," General Chen replied. "What else have they told us?" asked Counselor Yamamoto from Japan. "They say they're part of a galactic community of civilizations," Elena explained. "But they've also warned us about another species called the Vorax, apparently a hostile expansionist empire that has been encroaching on this sector of space." "Convenient," muttered Chen. "They position themselves as saviors, warning us about a threat. Still, we can't ignore first contact," countered Counselor Naidu from the African Union. "If they wanted to harm us, why announce themselves at all?" After days of debate, the Council reached a decision. Earth would send a diplomatic mission to meet the Meridians. The newly commissioned UES Pathfinder, Earth's first true deep space vessel, would make the journey under the command of Captain Sonya Volkov. 4 months later, Captain Volkov stood on the bridge of the Pathfinder, watching the stars through the main viewport. Dr. Elena Reyes had insisted on joining the mission, along with a team of diplomats and scientists. "We're approaching the rendezvous coordinates, Captain," announced Lieutenant Commander Jackson from the navigation console. "All systems on alert," Volkov ordered. "Passive scans only. Let's not appear too curious." Elena stood beside Volkov, anxiety and excitement battling within her. "Captain, something has been bothering me about the Meridian communications." "What is it, Doctor?" "Their language structure. It's too perfect, as if it's been carefully constructed rather than naturally evolved, and they've been very specific about certain technological details while being deliberately vague about their history and culture." Volkov nodded. "Keep digging. I want to know who we're really meeting out here." The Meridian ship appeared without warning. No distortion effects, no energy signatures, simply materializing before them like a ghost made solid. It was beautiful. A massive structure resembling a silvery leaf with gentle curves and soft light pulsing along its edges. "My God," whispered Elena. "It's at least 20 times our size." "Our sensors didn't even detect its approach," reported Commander Raj Patel from the science station. "Whatever propulsion and stealth technology they're using is beyond our understanding." "Open communications," ordered Volkov. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the Meridians for the first time. They appeared almost humanoid, with slender bodies and delicate features, but their skin had a subtle lavender hue that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. Their eyes were large and entirely silver, with no visible pupils. "Greetings, people of Earth," said the foremost Meridian in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Talon. We welcome you to the greater galactic community." The formal introductions proceeded with the Earth delegation presenting their credentials and expressing humanity's hopes for peaceful exchange. After several hours of carefully scripted conversation, the Meridians invited a small delegation to board their vessel. "I don't like it," said Volkov once they were alone. "Everything feels too rehearsed." "If they meant us harm, they could destroy us without effort," countered Counselor Lee, one of the diplomats. "Unless they want something from us that destruction wouldn't provide," Elena suggested. Despite the reservations, a small team, Volkov, Elena, and 2 security officers, boarded the Meridian vessel. The interior was even more impressive than the exterior, with walls that seemed to pulse with soft light and corridors that curved in ways that challenged human perceptions of space. Ambassador Talon led them to a grand chamber with a panoramic view of the stars. "We have observed your species for many years," he explained. "Your resilience and creativity are remarkable. You have overcome great challenges to reach this point in your development. Why contact us now?" asked Volkov directly. "The cosmos is vast but not empty," replied Talon. "There are forces that see emerging civilizations as resources to be harvested, or competitors to be eliminated. The Vorax are such a force." "And the Meridians?" pressed Elena. "We seek cooperation, alliance, mutual benefit." Talon's silver eyes seemed to shimmer. "We offer protection and technological advancement." "In exchange for what?" Volkov's tone was skeptical. "Your unique perspective, your innovative thinking, perhaps eventually your assistance in maintaining peace in this sector." Later, back on the Pathfinder, Volkov called an emergency meeting with her senior staff and Elena. "Thoughts?" she asked the room. Commander Patel spoke first. "Their technology is centuries beyond ours. The potential benefits of an alliance are enormous. But their story seems too perfect," countered Lieutenant Commander Jackson. "Too tailored to appeal to human sensibilities." Elena nodded. "I've been analyzing their linguistic patterns more deeply. There are subtle inconsistencies, places where they seem to be following a script rather than communicating naturally." "You think they're lying?" asked Volkov. "Not exactly lying," Elena replied, "but not telling us everything." That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She returned to the communication lab and began reviewing the original Meridian signal again. After hours of meticulous analysis, she found it, a hidden data stream buried within the main transmission. When Volkov arrived the next morning, Elena was waiting with red-rimmed eyes. "The Meridians aren't who they claim to be," she said without preamble. "They're scouts for their own empire. They're not protecting the sector, they're expanding into it." "What about the Vorax?" asked Volkov. "They're real." Elena pushed a datapad toward Volkov. "But the relationship is different. The Meridians and Vorax are competing empires. The Meridians want to use Earth as a buffer against the Vorax, or worse, as proxy warriors in their conflict." Volkov studied the data. "We need to get this information back to Earth immediately." As she looked out at the massive Meridian ship, through the viewport a chill ran down her spine. "And we need to figure out what to do about our new friends out there." Before they could act, the ship's sensors triggered an alert. "Captain," called Commander Patel from the bridge, "we're detecting multiple objects entering the system at high velocity." "Meridian reinforcements?" asked Volkov. "No," Patel's voice was grim. "Based on the energy signatures, they match the Meridian's description of Vorax vessels. A fleet of 15 warships, and they'll reach Earth's orbit in 12 days. Elena met Volkov's eyes. Earth is now caught between 2 advanced alien powers, both with technology far beyond our own. "Then we better get smart fast," Volkov replied grimly. "Because one way or another, everything changes from this moment on." Back on Earth, the United Earth Council convened an emergency session as news from the Pathfinder reached them. The revelation of the Meridian's true intentions, coupled with the approaching Vorax fleet, created a crisis unlike anything humanity had faced before. General Chen pounded his fist on the table. They planned this. The Meridians knew the Vorax were coming. They've been positioning us to fight their battle. Can we negotiate with the Vorax? Suggested Councillor Yamamoto. With what leverage? Countered Councillor Naidu. We're technologically inferior to both species. In the back of the chamber, a young engineer named Kai Zhang listened intently. He had been invited because of his groundbreaking work on quantum field manipulation at the Beijing Institute of Advanced Physics. As the politicians argued, a solution began to form in his mind. "Excuse me," he said, standing up. His voice was quiet but carried an unusual confidence that silenced the room. "I believe I have an approach that neither alien species will expect." "Who is this?" demanded General Chen. Director Okafor stood. "This is Dr. Kai Zhang. He's been developing experimental defensive technology. I invited him because I believe his work might be relevant." "What's your proposal, Dr. Zhang?" asked Councillor Naidu. Kai stepped forward, activating a holographic display. "The Meridians shared technology with us, believing we wouldn't understand its full implications or potential applications, but they underestimated human creativity. The hologram showed a complex network of orbital platforms surrounding Earth. By combining Meridian quantum principles with our own research, I can create a planetary defense system unlike anything they've encountered. One that doesn't just shield, it redirects and amplifies energy." "Will it work against their weapons?" asked General Chen skeptically. Kai met his gaze steadily. "I can't promise success, but I'll handle it." Something in his voice made them all believe him. "How long?" asked Director Okafor. "If I get every resource I need, 10 days, Kai replied. "Just enough time before the Vorax arrive." "And the Meridians?" asked Councillor Yamamoto. Captain Volkov, joining via secure transmission, answered, "We continue diplomatic talks. Keep them thinking we're naive and desperate for their protection. Meanwhile, we prepare." As the meeting adjourned, Kai looked at the holographic representation of Earth, surrounded by the approaching alien fleets. In his mind, he could already see the shield taking shape, a network of quantum fields that would protect his world. He had made a promise he wasn't entirely sure he could keep, but like generations of humans before him, he would face the impossible with determination, creativity, and the unwavering belief that when humanity took charge of its own destiny, the outcome was never certain, but always fought for. The human solution, 10 days, was not enough time to save a planet. Kai Zhang knew this as he stood in the cavernous manufacturing facility beneath Mount Fuji, watching as thousands of workers assembled components for his planetary defense system. Sleep had become a distant memory, replaced by a steady flow of stimulants and the relentless pressure of Earth's countdown to extinction. "Progress report," demanded General Chen as he strode into the facility, flanked by a team of military engineers. Kai gestured to the central holographic display. "The orbital platforms are at 63% completion. We've launched 42 of the planned 108. The quantum field generators are functioning at 90% efficiency. Will it be enough?" Chen's voice was gruff, but Kai detected the fear beneath it. "It has to be," Kai replied simply. In orbit, astronauts and space engineers worked around the clock, positioning the defense platforms in a complex geometric pattern around Earth. Each satellite contained technology that was a hybrid of human innovation and reverse-engineered Meridian science. Meanwhile, Captain Volkov continued her diplomatic dance aboard the Pathfinder. The Meridians had revealed more assistance after learning of the approaching Vorax fleet, offering weapons technology and promising reinforcements that would arrive soon. "Your generosity is appreciated, Ambassador Talon," Volkov said, maintaining her facade of grateful acceptance. "Earth recognizes the value of your protection in this difficult time." The silver-eyed Meridian inclined his head. "We merely wish to preserve your unique culture from Vorax aggression." They would strip your planet of resources and enslave your population. Unlike the Meridians, who would use us as cannon fodder in their galactic Cold War, thought Volkov. But her expression revealed nothing. Dr. Elena Reyes had been working non-stop to decrypt more of the hidden Meridian communications. In a secure chamber aboard the Pathfinder, she made a breakthrough that sent a chill down her spine. "Captain," she said when Volkov entered the room, "I found something disturbing. The Meridians and Vorax aren't just competing empires, they're related species." Volkov's eyes narrowed. "Explain." "Their genetic makeup appears similar, based on the biological data they've shared, and their communication protocols share fundamental structures despite their different languages." Elena brought up a comparative analysis on her screen. "It's like they diverged from a common ancestor in the relatively recent past, perhaps only a few thousand years ago." "A civil war?" suggested Volkov. "Perhaps, or a schism of some kind." Elena pointed to another data set. "But here's the important part. I've identified vulnerabilities in their communication systems, ways we might be able to disrupt or intercept their transmissions and possibly," she hesitated, "a way to access their command systems." Volkov stared at her. "You found a backdoor into their technology?" "Not exactly, but close enough that it might give us an advantage they won't expect." Back on Earth, the final components of Kai's defense system were being prepared for launch when Director Okafor entered his workshop. "The Vorax will reach Earth orbit in 18 hours, she said without preamble. "The Meridians are pressuring us to accept a protective force on the surface." Kai looked up from his work, dark circles under his eyes. "They want their troops on Earth before the Vorax arrive. Then they can claim our world regardless of the outcome." "Exactly. The Council is stalling, but we need your system operational." Kai turned back to the complex equations floating in the holographic display. 8 more hours. I need 8 more hours to calibrate the quantum field harmonics." "You have 6, Okafor replied grimly. "Make it work." As the deadline approached, humanity stood at the precipice. News of the alien fleets had leaked to the public, causing panic in some regions and a surge of unity in others. Around the world, people looked to the skies wondering if these would be their final days. In orbit, the last of Kai's defense platforms was positioned. The network now formed a complete geodesic pattern around Earth, invisible to the naked eye but ready to activate on command. Captain Volkov had withdrawn the Pathfinder to a position near Earth, citing the need to coordinate defense efforts. The Meridians had allowed this, confident in their manipulation of the supposedly naive humans. In the United Earth Council chamber, the final strategy was confirmed. "The Vorax fleet will arrive in 2 hours," announced General Chen. "The Meridians are demanding our answer regarding their protection force within the hour." "Dr. Zhang, is the defense system ready?" asked Counselor Naidu. Kai, appearing via hologram from the orbital command station, nodded. "Ready for activation. But remember, we'll only get one chance at this. Once we reveal our capabilities, both alien forces will adapt quickly." "Dr. Reyes, what about your end?" asked Counselor Yamamoto. Elena appeared alongside Kai, transmitting from the Pathfinder. "The communication disruption protocols are in place. Captain Volkov and I can implement them as soon as the Vorax arrive and the confrontation begins." General Chen stood. "Then we proceed as planned. We stall the Meridians until the Vorax arrive, activate Dr. Zhang's defense system, and implement Dr. Reyes's communication disruption simultaneously. If we time this correctly, we can force both sides to reconsider their approach to Earth." The council chamber erupted in tense discussion about the risks and alternatives, but ultimately, everyone knew there was no better option. Humanity would take its stand. An hour later, Ambassador Talen's face appeared on the council's main screen. "We must have your answer now," he said, his silver eyes reflecting no emotion. "The Vorax approach, will you accept our protection?" Council President Sophia Cardenas spoke for Earth. "Ambassador, we are deeply grateful for your offer. However, we require more details about the specific terms of this protection before we can agree." "There is no time for further negotiation," Talen responded, a hint of impatience finally breaking through his placid demeanor. The Vorax will show no mercy. They will... The transmission suddenly cut off as the Council's emergency alert sounded. The Vorax fleet has entered Earth orbit, announced the defense system. Moments later, a new face appeared on the screen. A being similar to the Meridians but with darker, almost metallic skin and eyes that glowed a fierce amber. "I am Commander Vec of the Vorax Dominion," the alien announced, its voice deep and resonant. "Your world now falls under our jurisdiction. The Meridian manipulators have poisoned your perception of us. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. Resist and you will be eliminated." President Cardenas maintained her composure. "Commander Vec, we welcome you to Earth space. We request time to consider your proposal." "You have 10 of your minutes," Vec replied coldly. "Then we will begin purification procedures." As the transmission ended, General Chen opened a secure channel to Kai and Elena. "It's time. Initiate the plan." Aboard the orbital command station, Kai activated his defense system. Throughout Earth orbit, the 108 platforms simultaneously powered up, generating a quantum field that enveloped the planet in an invisible shield. On the Pathfinder, Elena implemented her communication disruption protocol, sending precisely calibrated signals toward both alien fleets. In space, the effects were immediate and dramatic. The Vorax ships, which had been positioning themselves for an attack, suddenly found their weapons systems malfunctioning. The Meridian vessel, moving to intercept the Vorax, experienced similar disruptions. "What is happening?" demanded Ambassador Talon, his transmission breaking through to the council chamber. "What have you done?" "We've taken charge of our own defense, Ambassador," replied President Cardenas calmly. "Please stand by." The Vorax attempted to fire on Earth, but when their energy weapons struck Kai's quantum field, something unexpected happened. Instead of being absorbed or deflected, the energy was captured, amplified, and redirected. Not back at the Vorax ships, but into space, where it formed a brilliant, pulsing beacon visible across the solar system. On the command station, Kai smiled for the first time in days. "It worked," he whispered. It actually worked. The quantum field didn't just protect Earth, it transformed the aggressive energy into a signal, a declaration to the galaxy that humanity had achieved a technological breakthrough neither alien power had anticipated. Both the Meridian and Vorax fleets immediately ceased their operations, clearly reassessing the situation. "Open a channel to both fleets," ordered President Cardenas. When the connections were established, she addressed the aliens with newfound confidence. "Ambassador Talon, Commander Vec, it seems we find ourselves at an impasse. Your weapons cannot penetrate our defenses, and we have demonstrated technology that neither of your species expected from us. Furthermore," added Elena, stepping forward, "we now understand the true nature of your conflict. You are not separate species, but factions of the same civilization. Your war is a civil one, and you sought to use Earth as a pawn in your power struggle." Both alien leaders appeared stunned by this revelation. "We propose a different approach," continued President Cardenas. "Earth will serve as neutral territory, a place for diplomatic resolution of your conflict. We will not take sides, nor will we be manipulated by either faction." "You presume much," growled Commander Vec. "Your defense is impressive but temporary. We could simply wait until your energy reserves are depleted." Kai spoke then, his voice calm, despite the audacity of his next words. "Our quantum field is self-sustaining. The more energy you direct at it, the stronger it becomes. You could bombard Earth for a century and achieve nothing but strengthening our position." This was not entirely true. The system had limitations, but the aliens had already underestimated human ingenuity once. They could not be certain it was a bluff. After a tense silence, Ambassador Talon spoke. "Perhaps we have misjudged your species. A dialogue might be beneficial to all parties." The negotiations that followed were complex and delicate. Over the next several days, humanity learned the truth about the Meridian-Vorax conflict, a centuries-old ideological schism within a once unified civilization. Earth's unexpected technological leap had created an opportunity for both sides to reconsider their approach without losing face. 3 weeks later, in a ceremony broadcast around the world, representatives from Earth, the Meridian Assembly, and the Vorax Dominion signed the Soul Accords, establishing Earth as a neutral diplomatic ground and recognizing humanity's sovereign right to self-determination. As the ceremony concluded, General Chen approached Kai and Elena, who had become heroes to billions overnight. "You two took one hell of a risk," he said, a rare smile breaking through his stern demeanor. "If your plans had failed..." "Failure wasn't an option," replied Kai simply. "When your entire world is at stake, you find solutions where none seemed possible." Elena nodded in agreement. "The Meridians and Vorax thought they understood humanity based on our technology. They never grasped that our greatest strength isn't our tools. It's our adaptability, our creativity when facing impossible odds." Later that evening, as Earth celebrated its unexpected victory and new place in the galactic community, Kai stood alone on a balcony at the United Earth headquarters, looking up at the stars. President Cardenas joined him, offering a glass of champagne. "To the man who saved Earth," she toasted. Kai shook his head. "I just handled the technical part. It took all of us. Elena's discoveries, Captain Volkov's diplomacy, your leadership, the Council's unity, and thousands of engineers and workers who built the system in an impossible time frame. Nevertheless," she insisted, "your words will go down in history. I'll handle it." 3 words that changed humanity's destiny. Kai smiled faintly. "It wasn't about me. It's about what humans do when our backs are against the wall. We innovate. We find a way forward when none exists, and sometimes we surprise even ourselves with what we're capable of." Above them, the stars seemed brighter somehow, no longer just distant points of light but doorways to a universe that had suddenly become much larger and more complex. Humanity had taken its first true steps into the galactic community, not as conquerors or victims but as equals who had earned their place through ingenuity and determination. The Meridians and Vorax had arrived expecting to find a primitive species they could manipulate or conquer. Instead, they encountered the most dangerous force in the universe, humans who refused to accept defeat, who looked at impossible odds and simply said, "I'll handle it." And in that moment, the war had ended before it truly began.